Hello, my name is Jacqueline Scheid. I'm going to do the lab overview of the skeleton system that was assigned to us during our class at Bio 153LBE. First, we're going to look into the microscopic bone tissue, so the ground compact bone, which is located in the cortical bone. I used the virtual microscope, and I moved this stage to the lowest position to start. I then turned on the illuminator, and then I would select the power. So initially started with 4 times and then 10 times, and then went into a 40-time magnification to get the best result. And you can see here I've labeled the interstitial lamellae. Sorry if I don't say these names correctly. The concentric lamellae, the osteocyte, and Haberson canal. Then next I did the spongy bone, which is in the trabecular bone. I took the same steps for the virtual microscope, but this time I only went to a 4 times magnification to identify the trabeculae and marrow cavity. So just referencing the image from the whole cloud lab that we did during our course. So the cortical bone versus the trabecular bone, you can see the images to the right. The cortical bone is like hard and mineralized and has many layers, while the trabecular bone is spongy and has just a few layers. And then you can see the different identifications within each bone. So the nutrient foramen, concentric lamellae, and then below cartilage. So you can see there's like much more labels on the trabecular bone, but it actually has fewer layers. So the functions of each: the cortical bone provides a protective layer around the internal cavity, while the trabecular bone forms a porous inner layer of bone and fills the internal cavities with red bone marrow. And then going into bone shapes, so starting off with the skull lateral view, we used a virtual human skeleton, and you can view it from muscles, nerves, bones, obviously focusing on bones here, and then looking at it from all the different views. So to start, we have the skull lateral view, which I've labeled the frontal bone, the occipital bone, the parietal bone, the temporal bone, lacrimal bone, and then the ethmoid bone. And then really interesting here, the skull anterior view. So again, labeling the frontal bone, but just in a different view. And then this phrenoid bone, this zygomatic bone, lacrimal bone, ethmoid bone, maxilla, and then mandible. And then we have the general anatomy posterior view, getting down, not just the skull, down to the body now. Really focusing on vertebrae here. So the vertebrae protects and supports the spinal cord. The structure of the vertebrae has notches and ridges to allow a wide range of movement, which was really cool to learn in this class. I never really understood, the whole extent of the vertebrae. So we went in there and labeled the cervical vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae, lumbar vertebrae, sacral vertebrae, and then scapula. And then lastly, we're getting into the general anatomy of the anterior view. The frontal view of the body. So we have sternum, ribs, humerus, radius, ulna, carpals, phalanges, which are hands and feet, the pelvis, and the femur, the tibia, fibula, and tarsals. Oh, excuse me. Most of these names sounded familiar to me while I was learning it in the class, but some things like the ulna and the carpals I don't remember, and I think it is from grade school, learning the song. And then a biblical verse that kind of has to do with the body and the bones. Isaiah 58:11, and the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Really focusing on the strength of the body. It is actually crazy like how complicated our bodies are, and just blessed to have it be healthy and working in ways that we don't even know of that's happening internally. So really cool. And then I just have my references here, learning a little bit more about the overview of the bones, and digging deeper into my knowledge for that. So thank you very much. This class has been great, and I loved physically doing labs with the cow eye and the other physical lab experiments like the viewing, the visuals, the smell, taste. So thank you so much.